Today in the crypto space, we see Bitcoin hitting price discovery levels and then getting a bit of a rejection. However, still hovering around that $69,000 mark, very bullish. Ethereum right around that $4,000 level. These heavyweights are definitely leading the way to higher levels. The rest of the crypto space, the altcoins, a mix of green and red, pretty much going sideways. However, some really good gainers. Arweave is still doing good. The dog coins are back at it. Bonk, Dog with Hat, and Floki are running to higher levels. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to talk about one altcoin that has been doing super good today, up 30%, and that project is called Dynex. So you know what? Let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome on the channel. We talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities. Whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. Of course, you can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. But better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's see what's going on here. Bitcoin obviously did some great stuff today, hitting those all-time highs, getting into price discovery, and then, of course, getting a bit of a rejection. However, we see Bitcoin climbing right back up, 69,400, give or take, up 2%. Ethereum doing pretty good here. You know, at the end of the day, what else do we expect from the altcoin market? You know, the altcoins have been doing pretty good. However, a bit of a dip as we get to those critical horizontal levels is very possible. Let's look at the top 100 real quick before we continue. Obviously, we'll take a look at Bitcoin. We'll take a look at Ethereum. We'll take a look at a lot of these projects tonight at 7:30 Eastern, where I look at all the price action, any requests that you may have. That is a great time and place to make those requests, so feel free to join tonight. All right, let's begin. Bitcoin doing its thing, climbing to those higher levels. Are we going to break out? Are we potentially looking for a nice price discovery level? It could be possible here. $69,000, 200, you know, not bad right here. Ethereum looking a little bit more bullish in my behalf, looking pretty good. It definitely is up 15.5% in the last 7 days, while Bitcoin is only up 11.5, give or take. So the last 7 days, definitely Bitcoin, Ethereum showing a little bit more strength here. However, look at the rest of these altcoins. Look at BNB looking pretty good, up 20%. Today, 4%, not bad, moving to those higher levels. Those larger cap altcoins are definitely going to make the Bitcoin dominance fall. We have Doge looking pretty good, 9%. Sheep doing another 12.5%, give or take. And the market is pretty bullish still. You know, regardless, we do see Bitcoin do its thing every once in a while. We do see it come down. We see altcoins react a little bit more than the Bitcoin dip. If Bitcoin dips 2%, we see altcoins come down significantly. The only issue here is that we got to keep in mind is that the bounce off of these altcoins could be a lot stronger, meaning that could recuperate a lot stronger. They could make higher highs and higher lows, and we could eventually see an altcoin season. Guys, I really don't think that we've seen that altcoin season. I do see that we're seeing a lot of the altcoins do great, you know, outperforming Bitcoin. A lot of them are. Some of them aren't still, you know, still at the bottom of the range and still have a lot more work to do. And this is what I plan on focusing on in the next little while. Altcoins that are bottom dwelling, basically waiting for pops to move to the upside. What else do we got here? Nice structure. We have Filecoin waking up here, 13.5%. 14% more or less, doing pretty good, up 42% in 7 days. Great gainer. Neo Protocol, another 42%. Guys, you can see that if you get into the right projects, you're doing great. BitTensor still grinding, however, you know, looking a little top-ish with this 3% dip. Optimism as well, coming down just a little bit. HBAR as well. So there are a few little bit retracements because ultimately what you're seeing is a lot of people focus on Bitcoin, focusing on Ethereum. They're taking profits off their altcoins because they're a little bit risky. and they're looking for volatility. And if Bitcoin is going to show us volatility, if Bitcoin and Ethereum are showing higher highs and higher lows and breaking out of, strong resistance, people will be putting their capital into those projects and sucking liquidity out of them. So that could be the scenario here. As soon as we see Bitcoin go sideways, Ethereum maybe go sideways, because ETH needs to catch up to Bitcoin just a little bit more as well, we could definitely see the altcoins bounce and continue to the upside. We have Pepe, still moving to higher levels. We have OKB doing pretty good here, although it's only up 1.5%. I like the structure, looking for a breakout. Mantle doing pretty good, higher highs and higher lows, grinding upwards, pretty good. Arweave, no chill, up 63%. Now its counterpart, Filecoin, at the end of the day, they were pretty similar at one point, but Arweave got an upgrade that kind of sets it apart to an extent. Now we have Filecoin that could definitely do an upgrade as well and potentially follow its lead. Now Filecoin is up 43%, while Arweave currently is up approximately 63. So 63%, that's a little bit more than Filecoin, which is still fine, but both of them have been doing very, very well. So earlier on, I diversified the narrative. I got into decentralized file storage narrative, and I got a little bit of Arweave, and I got a little bit of Filecoin, and I made myself a bit of a basket within that narrative. Both are doing decently. So you can see how you don't have to make choices. You pick a narrative, you pick your projects that are decent, that you like fundamentally. You can separate them based on market cap. Arweave was a lot smaller before. So technically speaking, Arweave, big picture, made a lot more gains for me than Filecoin, but Filecoin did well as well also. And it gave me a bit of that stability. So this is what we have to do, is diversify, but at the same time, get yourself diversified also based on market cap. And at the end of the day, expect the different narratives to also do very well. So you want to get some diversification in different narratives both ways. Okay, so we have Monero going sideways, but Rocket Pool looking pretty good. Floki, guys, my Floki bag is doing great, 71% today. I took a bit of profit, and I put it into some other altcoins that I needed a little bit of exposure with. Ultimately, I'm looking for a bit of a bag here and there, but I'm being very reserved right now. I'm being very conservative. The market is being very frothy. The fear and greed index is really high. We can talk about the fear and greed index tonight, but ultimately, guys, I feel as we continue moving up, I need to increase my conservative approach. I need to be able to buy dips if we do come down. And the only way to do that is to skim off the top. Skim a bit of profit off the top, ensure that I have a bit of stables ready to go. And that's really what I'm doing in the next little while, is ensuring that I'm aggressively building a bit of stables. Why? Because I'm expecting a short-term dip. I'm not expecting a crash. I'm not expecting something crazy, although you never know what could happen here. But I want to see Bitcoin correct. And if it does correct eventually, I want to make sure I have capital on the side ready to deploy. Algorand doing its thing, but mind you guys, I'm still okay looking for bottom dwellers. Like, we know Polkadot hasn't moved yet, so I wouldn't mind getting deploying if we do come down a little bit more. There's a few others that I have. Bond is another one that I'm interested in, or Band, sorry, that hasn't really done much yet, and I wanted to break out. Yeah, Akash is doing great. Akash is killing it, doing awesome, and you can see the general market is still very bullish. No confirmations of any bearishness here, and I'm expecting a continuation to the upside for these altcoins, while still keeping in mind that Bitcoin is the heavyweight. And if it does decide to correct, we could see altcoins fall. Okay, so this is it. We're getting a bit frothy here. Still look for those bottoms. Don't buy tops, because those are the ones that are going to get hit hard if we get a corrective move, market-wide corrective move. All right, guys, let's move on. I know you're here to talk about charts. Today's video, obviously, we're going to take a look at Dynex, but I want to look at Bitcoin first. We'll focus on the markets and see what kind of price action we can use as a leading indicator here from Bitcoin. Guys, it broke out ever so slightly. Higher highs, price discovery, quick rejection to the downside. However, guys, it's still doing okay here. The volume is not too great. It's not the biggest amount of volume. Even the volume profile is not giving it to me. We can get a little bit higher here, or we can get a rejection and start this retracement all the way potentially down to about 50k is probably possible. Even about 48 is even possible, even as low as 38. If you think about it, there's a good structural support right there at that level. But ultimately, guys, we got to take it easy. We got to be careful. Look at this parabolic run. When you see these green candles like this, it's not the time to get into fresh longs. So be careful out there, because the volatility is good, but not when you're trying to find fresh longs. lows. You want to be careful out here. All right, guys, let's look at this in a little bit more detail. Honestly, the dailies, the weekly, there's no edge. The daily, there's no edge. Like, really, we're making higher highs and higher lows. If you look at the oscillators, we're still doing good. No bearish divergence anywhere as of now. So guys, until I get that, there's no real reason for me to get super aggressive with profit taking. And I'm not just talking about Bitcoin. I'm talking about market wide. Like, if Bitcoin keeps on showing at least sideways at minimum, Ethereum at least sideways at minimum, there's no real reason why we have to take so much profits off our lower market cap projects. You know, the lower market cap projects are definitely going to run. They're going to do well. However, as long as Bitcoin and Ethereum are showing strength, the market still has the potential to move. And we know that we haven't really got a full-on blown out altcoin season yet. So this is the name of the game here, guys. We got to be a bit patient. EMAs are facing up, green histogram bars to the upside, and we're in overbought conditions with no signs of weakness. That's all on the daily. The 4 hour, the little bit of weakness. We have class A bearish divergence on the price action, and if you compare it to the RSI, it does kind of want to come down. It could roll over and get a bit of a dip, but what about if we completely neutralize it and we at least go sideways for a bit? Right? Going sideways, Bitcoin going sideways is going to give strength to the altcoins. And that's what I'm expecting for the next little while. You know, hopefully we get that altcoin season. I want to take a look at the Bitcoin dominance tonight so that we can come up with that plan. The EMA's got a nice cross right here with a green histogram bar. So maybe we continue in the bullish control zone for Bitcoin on the 4 hour and we get another leg up, which would definitely bring us into price discovery mode. Again, previous highs, we wicked right above it. And we got into price discovery, but no real convictions here and no candle closes. So nothing really that bullish until that happens. Okay, guys, so keep that in mind. And of course, let's take a look at DNX, Dynex. Dynex, guys, is in a great scenario. Now, if you have been following the channel, you guys know that I made a video on Dynex a while back. I did a deep dive on Dynex. I covered it a month ago when we were at the bottom of the range. Okay, so now it's time to bring this full circle. There are a few projects that I would love to bring full circle and show you exactly where we got entries and where we are right now. For example, Neon is a really good one that we bought the bottoms absolutely perfectly. But regardless, Dynex, if you check out that deep dive, if you want to know a little bit more about the project, I got one there in the playlist, the deep dive playlist. Go check it out. But the reality is that video was created right here on the lower low in almost oversold conditions. EMA crosses to the upside. Let's see, we can go here. EMA crosses right here, and then all of a sudden, what else do we have? We have a scenario where we got a nice bounce at horizontal support, green arrows, top of the volume gap, perfect point of control bounce. That's all you got. Tons of confluence. Now that we are at the top of the range, you got to ask yourself, is this range bound price action? Are we pretty much going to trade the range here? Now, it's very possible that we do because we've done it before. Once, twice. Now, the trend is your friend. This is a trend, a sideways consolidation, lots and lots of market participation. Yes, there was a bit of bullish news coming out of DNX, you know, pretty good partnership coming out. The details can be discussed tonight at 7:30 if you're interested, but ultimately, you know, this is looking pretty good price action wise. Why? Because the daily looks like it wants to get overbought. Last time it got to this level, it did get overbought. The last time it got to this level, it was overbought. Now, what about this time? Do we get into overbought and actually break through? Now, we did get a rejection on this horizontal. You can see that very clearly. We got pretty much right on the line, and then we got rejected. Now, do we pick up more bullish bids to actually move to those higher levels? Let's get in the weekly here quick. You can see that the weekly, really, the weekly didn't get overbought at all. The EMAs are just got started here. EMA cross, green histogram bar to the upside. So lately, I've been looking at the weekly. Why? Because the weekly is going to give you the big picture, right? If we are in a bull run, we have to understand that there's going to be dips, there's going to be peaks and valleys within the weekly time frame. Right? But ultimately, the weekly is going to prevail. The weekly is going to take us to that bigger objective. Now, if that's the case, that we get overbought here on the weekly and we're seeing these EMAs go upside, we have to have a bullish bias based on the weekly time frame. And then if you look at the daily right now, the RSI is definitely trekking to bullish conditions. The MACD is also facing up. EMA is doing good. Green histogram bar to the upside. You can see the overall trend is upwards, guys. There's nothing bearish about this, even on the daily. The only thing that we have right now is that we are at previous highs and looking for a breakout. Now you have to treat this W formation as a breakout trade, and that is the most difficult scenario right now, is because your risk to reward is not healthy, given the fact that if we get rejected, who's to say that we can't come back all the way down to range lows? This is why I would say that if you're overexposed, over leveraged, or you just feel like fundamentally you would rather take a bit of profits, right now is not a bad time to protect your gains. Because from the bottom to where we are right now, let's just take a quick measurement. You're up significantly. You're up approximately 80%, which is a decent move. Nobody will be complaining about an 80% move. And especially if you got into a bit of leverage, you're in some significant gains here. So lower term time frames is the issue. The short time frames, what do? Do we expect a dip? Do we expect a continuation? The weekly's bullish, the daily's bullish. Let's go into the 4-hour. The 4-hour is overbought. EMAs are still facing up here. Green histogram bars. Now let's just be real about the fact that these oscillators, the MACD and the RSI are both lagging indicators, which means that they basically show you they take into consideration the price action. They take time, basically. They take time to consider the price action. So this is not a true representation of the current scenario. They lag behind the price action just a bit, and sometimes you need to kind of take it with a grain of salt, of course. But there's nothing bearish about this currently. Not even an inkling of bearishness showing us that we could get rejected. We got green volume right into this. We got a good amount of market participation right into here. In fact, right at this level, excluding all other price action, at this current level, at $1.13, we are building a bit of market participation that is interested in this breakout. You can see this little hump right here that is looking for it to push above the previous high, which is, again, the break of $1.20 is looking pretty good. So the weekly, the daily, even the 4-hour is still looking okay here, guys. So breakout trade it is, right? If you're bullish and you want to get in, where do you put your stop loss? As a breakout trader, this is the most difficult thing to do because your risk to reward ratio is not the best. I'm wondering if the daily would just clean this up a little bit for us so that we can see less noise, and it does look a lot better. Okay, so we see a beautiful W, beautiful breakout with a nice neckline. The invalidation, the absolute invalidation for this bullish thesis is all the way down here. That's about it. You got about a 53 cent invalidation right down at this level. The issue here is that some people may be looking at the invalidation as this bottom right here, which is not bad, to be honest, but the reality is it could even come down here and then still continue to the upside. I think that's very unlikely, to be honest. It's very unlikely, to be honest, but if it does happen, guys, anywhere in this zone, we're going to test weekends. People are going to be shaking, right? If you got in with too much leverage or overexposed or something like that, this is where we're going to test people's positions. Now, I don't think it's going to happen. We got in a lot of volume. We got the 200 daily EMA right here to act as support. We got these EMAs crossing the 50, the 20, and the 200 cross beautifully in a very bullish way. So a lot of confluence to the upside, but still, you got to remain defensive. You got to have a defensive plan. Where are you going to put your stop loss? So if you put your stop loss at those levels, which is down here or even down here, let's entertain both areas. From current entry position to where the first dip, the first bottom, you're looking at a 40% correction. Massive correction. That is significant. And down here, at about 53 cents, you're looking at about a 53.5 correction. Massive correction. Guys, that's a very deep correction that no trade setup should really consider. Now, even if your risk to reward ratio is healthy, let's say that you start looking at the next level of resistance, which we'll do in a second. Just understand that your position size should consider the fact that you have to sacrifice approximately 40 to 50% of your position to protect your bullish thesis. Your stop loss down here, you basically could lose 53% of your bag. If you get in with $100, you're going to lose $50. You get in with 1,000, you're going to lose 500. You get the drift. Position size is very important here, not only to keep the emotions at bay, but to keep your trading portfolio intact. You don't want to play around with your initial investment because it's the capital that you need to protect at all costs. Okay, so this is what we have to understand. Now, from a bullish perspective, we hit the top of the range very nicely. We broke right through to the point that, you know what, I'm going to get rid of this because it's just making extra noise. Okay, now all of a sudden, swing high to swing low, we can see that we are basically the 786, perfect retracement, double top, fine. Let's get to the 1.27. That's also a very viable state. Let's kind of shift this up a little bit. And then we got the 1.618 also as a great target for a bullish move. A lot of traders use these levels up here as levels to take profit, okay, as extensions. Now, if that were to be the case, yes, you can start trailing up a stop loss and you can start getting defensive on those gains, because you will be in some serious gains, especially if you got here on my signal at the bottom at the green arrow. Again, I would like to make a quick measurement to just kind of see where this eventually takes us. To this level, 150%, to this level, about 200. So this is where we're at. We're at a scenario where you can walk away with some decent gains, 80%, take a bit of risk, and then continue. The best strategy here is that if you feel like the dip would be too much to endure, just take a bit of profits and trail up a stop loss. The stop loss should be trailed up technically after the back test. Let me show you what I mean. If we do eventually break out, because that's ultimately what we're trading here, is a breakout trade. We break out, we come back down, the back test. This is the place that makes so much sense to react, to do something, whether it's buy the dip, whether it's to trail up a stop loss, whatever it is. This is the confirmation low. This is the higher low that we need here to get confirmed that this was a bottom. And then we continue to the upside, and then we start looking for the breakout out of this previous high. If we break this previous high, this is another opportunity to load up. And of course, right now, as we break through, you might want to load up as a breakout trader. So a little bit of risk here. So 1, 2, 3, and ultimately you build a position in the zone. Healthy scenario. However, guys, if we do not break out, we could come back down. If we do break out, it could fly right to extension levels. If we roll over and we look for that back test, who's to say we can't get back into range? This is the issue, is that when you're buying into a breakout, you're buying the tops and you're not buying a level of support, because ultimately you have a big deep retracement to deal with. So this is where we're at. Getting in on a back test on the confirmation low is probably the best thing to do if you're on the sidelines. And if you want to get in on a breakout, get in with a small bag and DCA all into the zone, especially once we form this bottom right around here, to suggest that we made a level of support on a zone that was previous resistance. This was resistance. This was resistance. This is currently resistance. We could break out, back test, and use it as support, and they get that confirmation low and start moving to higher levels. Higher highs, higher lows. The trend is your friend. We start moving up, and we get overbought on the daily. We get overbought on the weekly. We get overbought on the 4-hour. We're already overbought. We can stay here for a good while we break out and actually get to higher levels. Guys, I'm bullish on DNX, but you guys know that I'm not a breakout trader. But when we start hunting for good entries, lately, we've been seeing a lot of breakout setups. Why? Because little by little, all these bullish altcoins, all these bullish projects are reaching higher levels and exiting their bottom zones. And as that happens, you're going to have to really be creative as to finding decent entries on consolidations, on bull flags, on pennants, and at areas where you can put a stop loss and basically control your risk to reward ratio. Guys, if I've offered you any value in this video, do the channel a massive favor and slap the like button. It does really help out with the algorithm. And of course, I'm going to be live tonight at 7:30 Eastern talking about crypto news and price action. If you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, that is a great time and place to make those requests. And guys, don't forget, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. And the best part is it's absolutely free. Take care, guys. Have a good one. And don't forget, buy the dip.